Good morning. Myself Dr. Dushyant Pradeep and you are here for physics classes by Dr. Dushyant. And our today's topic is differentiation. Now, firstly, what the differentiation is? Actually, differentiation is to divide continuously. So, whatever you are going to do now, you are going to actually getting the average value, you are getting the instantaneous value of certain functions with the help of differentiation. So, what is differentiation? Means you are just going to have, if this is a space, a surface, you are going to divide it into such small parts that the surface now owned by those parts, this is delta x, now this is going to approach 0. When this happens, means you have differentiated this function. Here the function is what? It is a surface. With respect to what? With respect to a variable that is x. And the value of that variable now, that is approaching 0. Now, a formal definition, it is actually a limit to what? To the small increment of variable. If this is a variable and the limit is approaching 0. Limit to what? The small increment in function. Here, fx is function and f of x plus delta x is the small increment in that function. So, limit to the small increment in function to the small increment in the variable. So, this thing, what you are going to study now, this is representing a derivative of y or d of dx. Y is what? It is actually representing this function fx. This is the derivative, differential coefficient or differentiation of y. Here it is represented by the space, the surface over here. Now, this is what you are going to study now. Let's have a wider view of this. Let's suppose a function. A function suppose कीजिए y and y function है किसका? X का. So y is equal to function of x. Now we need to what? We want to get increment in this. We want to get the increment in function. We need this. So give small increments in variables and function. So function here it is y, so we are going to give it small variable y. Small function increment is delta y, and here the variable is x, so small increment is delta x. Delta here is representing as a small change over here. Now, get this small change. Subtract first from second. So this minus this, ये क्या हो जाएगा? y कट जाएगा. You are getting delta y. यहाँ पे क्या आ जाएगा? f of x plus delta x minus f of x. So this is what you are having. This is a small increment. ये किस में increment है? Function में. This is a small increment in function. Now, and delta x, that is a small increment in variable. So what is your derivative? That is divide both sides by delta x. When we are going to divide both sides, what you are going to get? You are going to get delta y by delta x. One is the small increment in function, other is the small increment in variable, equal to f of x plus delta x minus f of x upon delta x. Same thing is happening over there. What is then? Give the limit. Applying limit to what? This what you have derived over here. जो आपने निकाला उसको लिमिट दीजिए, और लिमिट किसको देनी है? वेरिएबल के इंक्रीमेंट को, अप्रोचिंग टू 0. जब इसे हम लिमिट देंगे तो ये बन जाएगा dy by dx, and this is the differentiation. This is the differential coefficient, and that is equal to limit delta x approaches 0, f of x plus delta x minus f of x upon delta x. This is what is known as the differential coefficient of the function y. Now look at one thing. This dy by dx, this is actually what? This is limit delta x approaching 0 of delta x upon delta. So this is what? This is an instantaneous value. And what is delta xy? This is an average value. So this is why we are going to have the differentiation of it. So this is giving us the instantaneous as well as the average value of function with and its change with respect to certain variable. Here it would have been delta y by delta x. Okay, so this is differential. Let's take an example. A journal case of a variable which is raised to certain powers. Power in an integer is a number, and it's a journal case of functions which are represented by powers of x. We are having this as a function, x raised to power n. So first step is, suppose a function y, x raised to power n. Next step, give the increments. Y plus delta y, that is equal to, function is given, increment is given to the variable only. So this is your value. Next step is, give numbers and subtract what? 1 minus second minus first. This minus this, delta y equal to x plus delta x raised to power n minus what? X raised to power. Now solve this up to some extent. Let's solve it. So we want to put some binomial expansion over here. For that we need term 1 over here. So what we are going to have? Get 1 from here. X raised to power n. अंदर क्या बच जाएगा? 1 plus delta x by x raised to power n minus x raised to power n. अब आप ये यहां पे x कहां से आया? मैं बताता हूं आपको. x plus delta x ये था. I need what? I need 1 over here. यहां पे x निकालना है बाहर, तो मैं इसे x से मल्टीप्लाई करता हूं, x से डिवाइड करता हूं. Multiply with x, divide by x. Now multiplied x would come out, 1 plus delta x by x would remain inside. So here we are having power of n, so it is becoming x raised to power n. So next step, x raised to power n, 1 plus delta x by x raised to power n minus x raised to power. Now next step, apply binomial theorem. Delta y is equal to x raised to power n. It is becoming 1. What is binomial? 1 plus x raised to power n is equal to 1 plus nx plus n into n minus 1 x square upon 2 factorial plus so on. So let's generalize here. 1, यहाँ पे x की जगह कौन है? Delta x by x. So it is n delta x by x plus n into n minus 1 delta x by x का square upon 2 factorial plus so on. और last term क्या है? Minus x raised to power n. ये x raised to power n, यहाँ पे लास्ट टर्म क्या आती है? xn जब बाहर निकाला है, सो यहाँ पे xn यहाँ पे बाहर आ गया, we left with 1, so here we are having 1. ये 1 1 कट जाएगा, आपके पास क्या बच गया? This term. नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या है? Divide by x raised to power, divide by the small value. ठीक, इसे हमने divide by delta x. So we are having delta y by delta x. और इधर क्या आ जाएगा? x raised to power n, अंदर पहली टर्म तो गई है. Next term will be n upon x plus n into n minus 1 delta x upon x square upon 2 factorial plus so on. We are neglecting high powers because next step is what? Applying limits. Limit what? Delta x approaches 0. This will become dy by, ये dy by dx बन जाएगा xn n by x. इसमें जब delta x approach करेंगे 0, this will become 0. So all the other terms will become 0. This is here. So n, this power 1, x n upon x1, n x n minus. So dy by dx, y क्या था? x raised to power upon dx. n जो पावर थी, x the variable used by 1. This is the differentiation of x raised to power n. So अगर अभी भी आपको कोई डाउट है, if still you are having any doubt, you can give a comment, you can message me and subscribe so that we can have the next lectures on other cases of sine and cos. Subscribe it, like it. Thank you very much. Have a great time.